So without further ado, Dawn, if you'd like to put on your slides and share your screen. And everybody, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this presentation by Dawn Emmons. First, over to Ian. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ray. This position has just come up with a company in Hull, Donaldson Filtration Components, who are a global filtration manufacturer. So they're an American company based out of Minneapolis, and they manufacture filtration for just about every field of filtration you can think of. So power stations, water, vehicles, and so forth. The Hull plant itself manufactures filters for primarily the automotive and off-road business. So it goes into trucks upwards, a little bit of power station work as well. And they're looking for the EHS manager. So they're after somebody who is experienced in a manufacturing environment, preferably IOSH diploma or equivalent level of education and experience, and good knowledge of the 45,000 and 14,001 management standards. So primary focus moving forward is culture change. So they've got systems in place and they're now looking to drive these systems and improve performance with culture. So if anybody is interested, please contact Claire Anderson, who's the HR manager, and her email address is there for further information. And the job is also now on LinkedIn as well, where you can also pick up any information. So if you're interested, please let Donaldson know and they'll provide you with any information you may need moving forward. So thank you. And on that, thank you, and over to you, Dawn.
Thank you. And get my screen to, oh, there we go. So good morning, everybody. So today's topic is about menopause awareness, a topic that probably 20 years ago we wouldn't be talking about, but it's actually grown a lot of traction in recent years and is actually talked about a lot more. Obviously, there's been a lot more research done on it over the years. So when my mum went through it, it was called the change and you just got on with it. Nobody talked about it. It wasn't talked anywhere. So today we're going to just go through what is the menopause, the different types of menopause, some of the symptoms, and there are hundreds of types of symptoms. My experience of the menopause, or my experience now of the menopause, and then I'm going to go into a bit about how companies can help people with the menopause, and we'll go through some statistics, actually a case that went to court, and then there's some top tips that you can do in your business as well. So what is the menopause? So it's a natural process that women go through, usually occurs in women between the ages of 45 to 55. That is a rough guideline. It can be before that, it can be after 55 as well. I know when my mum said she was 56, so it's not a set in stone, but it's just a guideline of the ages. That women as young as 30 have been experienced going through it, but that is actually quite rare. But the medical definition of menopause is when a woman has not had a period for 12 months. So if you've gone 11 months and you've had a period, you start again. But if you've gone 12 months or more, then you're classed as being in the menopause. So what are the different types of menopause? I'm sure most of you think, well, it's just the menopause, that's it. Well, it's not. There are 4 different types of menopause. So the first one is what we call the perimenopause, and this can begin 8 to 10 years before you actually get to the menopause. Usually starts in the 40s, but as I said, can start as young as 30. And when you're in the menopause, the women's periods are quite erratic. So you could go 3 weeks and come on, you could go 2 weeks, you could go 6 weeks and then it comes back. It is really erratic, and it's just your body's way of starting to slow down the process of having periods. The next stage, once you come out of the perimenopause, is the actual menopause. This is where women no longer have periods. So basically the ovaries have stopped functioning, there's no eggs being released, So you know, you don't have any periods. As I said, it's diagnosed once you've gone 12 months or more, and there are a variety of different symptoms that occur, and it's different. Every woman is different. I have friends that are going through the menopause, and every one of us, when we start talking about it, have different symptoms. So we'll go through what some of them are, but like I said, there are hundreds of different symptoms. The menopause can last up to 15 years. So if there's any men on the call that have, you know, their partners or wife are going through the menopause, just have a bit of sympathy for them, because it lasts such a long time. And when we start to go through some of the symptoms, you can understand and maybe have a bit of sympathy of what she's actually going through. So once you've gone through the menopause, we then go into the post-menopause, and this is where most of the symptoms actually cease. I know certain ladies that are in the 60s, 70s do get the odd symptom, but nowhere near the symptoms they get in the perimenopause and the menopause. And then the last one is, and a lot of people don't think about this particular one, is surgical menopause. So when a woman's had a hysterectomy or her ovaries removed, she's actually forced into the menopause. So even though she's not gone a year without a period, she's instantly forced into the menopause. I've known ladies that have had hysterectomies in their early 40s, so they've started the menopause in the early 40s. So it can be quite horrendous going in at that stage. And a lot of women, when they have this done, go straight onto HRT, which is a hormone replacement treatment for women to get your body back to how it was post surgery. So we've got four types of menopause that we go into. Like I said, when I speak to my mom, she just called it the change. It was the change. There was none of this perimenopause and post-menopause. It was just the change, and you got on with it. So you can see there's a lot of research, a lot of medical research gone into this to actually get it into these different categories. So at least, you know, as you can understand where you are on that kind of cycle. So what are the types of symptoms? And I'm just going through some of the most common ones. So hot flushes, they are a nightmare. I hear women, and especially for me, you can feel it from your feet going up through your body, and then your face just sets on fire, and you can't get that your temperature down. You have to get a fan, stand somewhere cold. It's just, you just can't describe how that feels. It's awful. Night sweats are even worse. Some women can wake up and the bed sheets are wet through. And that then affects your sleep. So insomnia is a big part of menopause. You know, if you can get 5 hours good quality sleep, then you've had a good night's sleep. So sleeping, you don't sleep very often, to be honest. Vaginal dryness and discomfort during sex is quite a common symptom. Low mood and anxiety is a really common one. You know, you feel down, but you don't know why. You get that anxiety feeling, but don't know why. It's a really weird feeling that you get, and you can't control it unless you're on medication. Reduced sex drive, so you know your libido just is really gone. Problems with memory and concentration. Yesterday I forgot 2 meetings, totally forgot them, didn't even enter my head that I had these meetings. And your concentration levels, a lot of people talk about brain fog, and it literally is. You just, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. And weight gain is a big part, you know, because you've got no, your ovaries have stopped working, or they're slowing down. It affects your metabolism, and so a lot of women tend to put weight on, and it's generally around the middle that it goes. So you know, that's not nice, and it's really difficult once you're in that process to get that weight off, and it's frustrating. Some more heightened emotions. You know, I'm an emotional person anyway, but it's just heightened that. I remember going to the range with my mum, and I just had to say to her, I can't get out of the car at the moment. And she went, why? I went, because I just got to have a cry. And once I'd had a cry, I was like, right, I'm okay now, and off we went. And it just comes on you, and you just can't control it. It's you just got to go with it. Now I just end up crying and laughing at the same time because I don't know why I'm crying. So you just got to try and you know, lighten some of these symptoms, because you know you can't do anything about them. And then some other ones, we've got the fatigue, so you're constant because you can't sleep, you're tired, you end up with water retention and bloating, digestive problems, osteoporosis because we're not getting the hormones that we used to have coming from our ovaries, joint issues. Oh, the amount of times I'm going, this joint's aching or that joint's aching, and you think it may be because you maybe done some exercise or something like that, but a lot of it is down to menopause, which then goes to the muscle tension as well. Some women have panic attacks. I suffered on and off with itching skin. Your nails, your nails are constantly breaking, which isn't nice. And there are many, many more. There are hundreds of different symptoms. You can talk to different women and they will pick up different, some of these say, well, I have that one, and that one, but I don't have the rest. Every woman is totally different. So, you know, it's just depends on what's going on. Now, a lot of these symptoms can be managed with medication. Obviously, there's HRT, the hormone replacement treatment, but there are other things as well. So what I wanted to do is just give you my experience of what I've gone through, which is yeah, quite a journey. So like I said, I started my perimenopause about 45, and I kind of really only accepted it when I actually went for my interview for my fellow membership. So I went for my interview. I did the presentation, and they started asking me questions, and right at the end they said to me, what does it mean to you to be a fellow? And I went, well, I'm sure you get people sitting here saying it means the world to them. And I went, and it means the world to me, and oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I couldn't stop crying. And the poor guy who was sat opposite me just pushed a glass of water to me and said, here, have some water. And I'm going, I'm sorry, it's just the menopause. And I was so embarrassed. Whether it worked or not, I got my fellowship, but it was just, and then I came out of there and I thought, right, I need to admit that I'm actually in the, you know, the perimenopause. I need to go to the doctors and get this sorted. So that was probably when I really recognised it. Last year, I had a bit of problems with my ovaries, so I actually had them removed. I was 10 months gone without a period, but as soon as my ovaries removed, I was straight into the surgical menopause. And strangely enough, before I had them removed, I was in the low mood, getting the anxiety, hot flushes, a whole array of different things. As soon as I had my ovaries removed, most of that went away, and now all I suffer with is hot flushes and heightened emotion. So it was really strange that took a lot away. But I have had these symptoms. So itching skin, it drives you insane. You can't do anything about it. It just itches like mad. Weight gain, I have put weight on. Funnily enough, the last probably 4 or 5 months I've started to lose it again, but that's just through from exercising nearly every day and really focusing on what I'm eating. But that's been a real long struggle to lose some weight. The low moods are just horrible. You can't tell anybody why you're in such a low mood. Anxiety, for me, the anxiety is my heart starts racing, and I think, oh, it'll just calm down in a minute. But you know, sometimes I just have to walk away or just go pottering in my garden to bring that anxiety down again. But everybody will find a different way to actually cope with that. Very emotional. I'll cry at anything. you know, I'm watching TV, watching a film, and I'm emotional, or it just comes on. I could be driving somewhere and this emotion just comes on, and you just have to have a bit of a cry, get it out of your system, and move on. But like I said, I sometimes I'm crying and laughing at the same time, because it's just you just can't control it. It's just a weird feeling. Night sweats have been horrible, which has also led to low moods, tiredness, really tired, and the hot flushes. My hot flushes are really strange, so I get this really sicky feeling, and then the flush comes on, and it can take a good half an hour, if not longer, to get that flush to go away. So that's been quite hard, and because you've got this low mood, you end up snapping at people and then apologizing afterwards because you're not sure why you snapped at them, and it's just all these symptoms that you're trying to deal with, and go on with your life as well. It can be quite tough at times. I have tried different tablets. So doctors have now found that some antidepressants like fluoxetine and sertraline are actually really good for menopausal symptoms. I've tried 2, but they worked for so long and then stopped working. I tried HRT for a month, but that just wasn't for me. I just didn't like that at all. And then I've tried alternative tablets like sage tablets, but the one I'm on now is called black coash, and it actually stops the hot flushes, and it works about 90% of the time. I get the odd one now and again, but again, every woman is totally different. Some women might look at this and go, yeah, I get that, I've gone through the same. Other women go, no, mine's totally different. I've got a friend who's tried so many different tablets. She's tried the tablets for HRT. She's now trying the HRT patches. Yeah, so every woman is totally different. So that's my experience, and I wanted to share that with you just so you can get an idea of what a woman goes through with the menopause. So I just want to go now into work mode of, what are the statistics that we're seeing from menopause. So menopausal women are the fastest growing demographic in the workforce. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. But the average woman will go through the menopause is 51. It could be earlier, as we said, it could be later, but as we've gone through 4 different stages, she could be at one of them. Nearly 8 out of 10 menopausal women are in work now. 8 out of 10. That's such a high number. And if you think, a lot of women are not retiring until late 60s. So we're getting a lot of women that are in work. So companies really need to start to focus on this and do something about it. 3 out of 4 women experience symptoms. 1 in 4 experience really serious symptoms. So some of the ones that I mentioned, the anxiety, I just get it now and again. Some women, it affects their life so much. And 1 in 3 of the workforce will soon be over 50. And as I said, retirement ages have now gone up to 68. So you can understand why 8 out of 10 women are actually in work that are menopausal. So just wanted to share them statistics to put this into a bit of reality as to why, we're now doing this menopause awareness with IOSH. And there have been successful employment tribunals against employers because they're not accepting that this is a real problem. So I just wanted to share with you a case that I think this is probably one of the first cases that came up. Bear in mind, there are 2 pieces of legislation that cover this. One is the Equality Act and one is the Health and Safety at Work Act. So if companies saying, well, this is nothing to do with us, it actually is. And it's a very big part of our legislation. So the case is, I'll put it all up, Merchant versus BT back in 2012. And this was a dismissal without taking account of menopausal symptoms, and it was discriminatory and unfair. So basically, Miss Merchant had a GP report sent to her doctor, her employer, who totally chose to disregard it and based her symptoms on his own wife's symptoms, which were, again, as I've mentioned before, totally different. So BT were found guilty, basically, because the manager failed to accept, to follow the capability policy which referred to then seeking medical evidence. And it was also concluded that BT would not have treated a male in comparable circumstances suffering with failed concentration in the same way. So this was probably the very first case that came out where someone took them to a tribunal because of the menopause. And when I did my research, there were quite a few other ones that started to come through now as well. So, we can't, as companies, we can't turn a blind eye at this, especially when we've got 8 out of 10 women in the work that have menopause. So we really need to start doing something about this. So in health and safety, we have our legal, financial and moral things to think about. So the cost of recruitment to replace a woman who leaves the business, according to the Oxford Economics, is £25,000 per person, earning about 30,000. And that's just to bring in, the recruitment costs and bringing that new person into the team and training them. Cost of absence is in this group is the highest rate of sickness absence in older women. And a lot of companies are actually putting down, so if somebody's saying, I'm ringing in sick, and a lot of women, I would say, wouldn't say because of the menopause. And so what happens is the sickness absence goes down as a single case. And then if they're ringing again for something similar, it goes down as another single case, rather than it being classed as a ongoing health concern. So that's something to think about as well. Cost of employee relations issues and tribunals. Just a tribunal is £8,500, and that doesn't include fees, claimant fees if they won. So these are just things to think about in your business, in the company, versus doing something and helping people that go through the menopause. So how can companies help? What can they do? What can they put in place? So first, I think don't be afraid to talk about the menopause, include it in your diversity and equality training, but get people to talk about it. It's about, it's the same as mental well-being, mental health. We're now talking about it a lot more. We now need to start talking about the menopause. And as I talked about, my mom doesn't want to talk about it. My generation, our generation, we want to talk about it. We want to tell people what it's like. We want you to understand what we're going through. So if I am sat at my desk crying, it's not that I'm upset or anything. It's just I can't control that. I just need to have a cry and get on with it. So don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't jump to conclusions if you see a change in performance. Don't think it's because I can't do my job. Get people to ask, what's wrong? Are you all right? So don't just jump to conclusions. Make sure you've got a policy in place. It's really important. I mean, we have policies I know companies are starting to have policies now about mental well-being. We've got policies about pregnant ladies and breastfeeding ladies. Let's now have that in there, menopause in there as well, and have that in the business. I think it's really important that you have that. And, if you are a company that's got it now, then great, fair play to you for doing that. But you need to have that policy in place. Don't ignore the importance of occupational health access or employee assistance program. A lot of women want to talk to somebody about it because it's a minefield. You don't know. Sometimes you don't even know that you're actually going through the menopause. There's a lot of women out there that don't understand what it is and what they're going through. So having occupational health or an employee assistance program or somebody that they can talk to is really, really important. Be mindful of the working environment and access to facilities. So we talked about hot flushes. you know, having a fan on your desk. I mean, I've got a little one that sits on my desk constantly, you know, a big one, air conditioning, but, you know, talking to people around that sit around them, maybe sit them next to a window, you know, anything that helps that person feel more comfortable. You know, having cold water available, all them kind of things. But it's about talking to that individual and saying, what do you need? How can we help you? And they'll soon tell you what they want. So it's just be mindful of that kind of thing. Make adjustments where possible. I've just mentioned a few of them: the desk fan, the windows, temperatures, all that kind of thing. You know, reasonable adjustments is what's needed. Raise awareness of how menopause symptoms may affect women in the workplace with line managers, and especially, and I don't mean to be discriminative, but especially male line managers. They need to understand, you know, what we go through and how they can help. You know, just showing some of the symptoms that a woman goes through will help no end, and just having that sympathetic ear to the individual. And going back to the top one, don't be afraid to talk about it. Most women will talk to you about it and tell you what their symptoms are and how you can help. But to raise that awareness with line managers is really, really important. And I mentioned this earlier, so record any sickness absence due to menopause as an ongoing health issue, not short-term absence. Because if you put it down as short-term absence, a lot of companies have this 3 strikes, and then you go through the discipline process. You know, we can't help going through this. This is our life cycle. So, you know, put it down as an ongoing health issue, not a short-term absence. And be accommodating to flexible working requests that may help. So, you know, flexi working, you know, coming in that little bit late if you've had a really bad night's sleep, or leaving early. But having that flexible working is so important, and just helps. You know, these, you know, women are not there to slack work, but, you know, they just need a bit of help when we're going through the menopause. So they're the things that I would think about, and I would, you know, take back to your workplace. But there are many other things that you can do as well. So they're just some of the things that I think would help if you don't have anything at the moment. Now, Heather, one of our committee members, told me about this book, Perimenopause Power. She's recommended it to quite a few other people, and said there's things in there that even she didn't know about. So if you're looking for something to read to really understand, you know, what a woman goes through, or if you're a woman and you want to know some more information, then really good book. And I think when they're recommended, it's always, it's like you know it's a good book then. So I've put the link on the slides just in case you want to get the book and have a read about it. So thank you for your time and attention. I think the one thing that I would say, if you're male on here, you know somebody who's going through the menopause, go home and give them a big hug, because they'll probably appreciate that. And hopefully you'll have a bit more understanding of some of the things that they're going through, that you can then be a little bit more understanding. So I hope you've taken something from that. So I'll hand over to Heather to see whether there's any questions that anybody's got.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dawn. That was really good. And it was great to see so many people sharing their experience on the chat. You know, putting the tandoori in the fridge and yeah, having the hot flushes. I think we can relate to that. It's great to see other people here as well. So Birmingham NHS Trust, we've got Adam, and they've got 16,000 women there at work. So it's good to see people here and taking notes. And the Yorkshire Water, they've introduced menopause sessions, which is brilliant for people, because it's like you say, it is talking about it, because even people in their 30s, that book you just said, I mean, I think everybody should be given that from 35 onwards, because there's so many people after that age and they don't even really realise they're in perimenopause necessarily. And it is really, really helpful. And there's so many other really good resources out there as well. There's a website called The Menopause Doctor, which is amazing, and she has on there downloads and worksheets that you can take with you to help you have conversations with your GP, because again, GPs, they only do one module on it. They don't specialise in it. There's more CPD that's being developed out there for them now, and again, I think every GP should have a copy of that book because it's brilliant. And you find, I think as well, reading through, you get GPs offer people antidepressants as first of all, before necessarily even acknowledging that the person might be in perimenopause or having hormone issues. So having those resources yourself that you can go to, such as the perimenopause book or the menopause doctor, you've done your own research, and you can open those conversations and, you know, take control of your own healthcare as well. Just looking through as well, we had Karen, who recommended for a better night's sleep, there was a CPAP machine that will blow cold air onto your body and reduces the impact of night sweats, which is good to know. And also, I think bamboo nightwear.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Very good at regulating your body temperature as well. So it's
even bamboo quilts.
Yes,
are out there as well.
And it's just. And it's like Joe as well points out, that having the conversation with your husband, or, you know, and have male colleagues, it helps them to relate to other males and extended family members that are also going through it with women in their lives as well. I think a lot of people will have seen all the headlines in the past where HRT was, you know, deemed horrendous and scary and don't go near it, which has put a lot of women off, I think. But that was based on very old and very flawed research it was taken a lot from women in their 70s who were obese and smokers, and not necessarily women who were in that younger stage of their lives. So don't be scared of it. And like I said, do the research, like you have your experience, and like you say, everybody's totally different, aren't they? So,
I mean, it didn't work for me. It wasn't, I just didn't get on with it. But I've got friends who actually love the patch and said it's the best thing that they've ever done. I've just seen a chat come up, the woman said she highly recommends it. So, and it goes back to what I said, every woman is different. You can't put us all into this is what you're going to go through, because you don't. It's all different.
It is. So in the HRT, you get so many different forms of it as well, don't you? You can get the gels and the patches, and it can take some months for it to show an effect as well, because your hormones are so out of whack that it takes that time for them to balance in. So yeah, I like that. Highly recommended treatment from Joe there. Brilliant. So I think go to your GPs if you're experiencing it. Like we all say, talk to everybody about it. You know, everybody wants to hear about it. And remember that perimenopause can last 10 years, and lots of women in their 30s, late 30s don't know that that's what it is. So being able to have that conversation with them and say, do you think, because the number of people I know that have gone through perimenopause, even gone through the menopause in their early 40s, it's increasing all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's because we have hormones in so many of our products, don't we? Dairy and what have you. But there are so many resources out there, and I think the information from your presentation has really sort of highlighted some of the information that everybody needs to take away and look at where they can implement that into their business and how they can help people.
Definitely.
I'm just looking through now, so I'm just so just looking at the other comments as well. So there's another website there, ladycareuk.com.
I tried that one as well. The magnet didn't work for me, but I know a lot of women that have used it and said it was really, really good. So,
there are all kinds of things.
You've got to try all these different things, haven't you?
You do. So magnesium tablets, if you have those on an evening, they'll help you relax, but they're also really good for detoxification. And broccoli sprout extract is really good for detoxification of excess hormones in your liver. So I think the other thing to take away from this is, any women on the call, anybody on the call really, you know, if you ever want to talk about it further, then I think we're quite an open group who are happy to talk about anything, and you can reach out, and you know, we'll always try and help or listen or share those experiences. I think Dawn has
you're not alone.
Yeah,
I would say you're not alone.
You're not alone. There's another one just come here, ashwagandha herb tablets.
Oh, yeah.
Not relaxing. In fact, yes, I have heard of those. I have. So yeah, the next president can't relate there. We've got that from Louise coming in, so that's very good to hear. So
if you want, I can add some of these links and suggestions on a separate thing, and for the feedback email, so everyone's got them.
Oh, brilliant. That'd be great, really thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is on Channel 4 on demand, there was the Davina documentary last month, and that opened the eyes of so many people, I think, as well, and was really insightful. And you can watch, again, people on there talking about it and relate to them fully. So make use of all these resources that Helen will send out with Dawn's presentation as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for sending in the questions.
Okay, thank you, Dawn and Heather. So I'm going to close the session. I think it was a fantastic topic. We got lots of people joining us and lots of great comments in the chat, and I think it's a subject that most people are aware of but are frightened to talk about for some reason, and hopefully this will broaden them horizons and open them gates for people to talk about, especially with our incoming president being a lady herself, will be aware of the problems. But I think sharing and discussing these with your partners is the biggest thing I've sort of took away from today's meeting. But really good presentation, well put across, clear. It caused a lot of chat. I think that's the most chat I've seen on a presentation, so it shows how common that theme is. We've had other chairs from other branches joining us as well. I've been chatting away to them, so well done to Dawn. A really good presentation, very topical, probably something we can look at putting on again in a few more, maybe next year after, because it's been so topical. Hopefully we'll get the support from our president as well, which I'm sure we will on this topic.